Hello and welcome to the Consistory of the Co-op YouTube channel. I'm your host for this video, Reverend Jake Zabel of the St. John's Evangelical Lutheran Church located in Dalby, Queensland, Australia. We're getting close to wrapping up my series on Angelology, but before we get to the conclusion of this series, I wanted to take a moment to discuss some demonology and the choirs of demons. So this information is going to come from two sources: my Choirs of Angels, a brief study on the kinds of angels, which is my more in-depth book for adults to read, going into greater detail regarding the different kinds and types and choirs of angels, and also my children's book, Choirs of Angels, which contains colourful pictures and just dot points regarding the different types of angels and demons. Here in my children's book, I discuss how there are 5 different choirs of demons mentioned in Scripture. There is the fallen cherub, Satan. There are the demonic powers, the demonic virtues, the demonic principalities, and the lying spirits mentioned throughout the Bible. So we're going to discuss this topic of the choirs of demons, for just as there are choirs or different types of angels, there are also choirs and different types of demons. So what we know from the Bible is that the demons are fallen angels. Thus, they are merely sinful versions of the angels in heaven, just as unbelievers are unrepentant versions of humans. So the demonic choirs would simply mirror the angelic choirs. We know that Satan was a cherub, and we also know that Colossians 2:14, Ephesians 6:12, and also possibly Romans 8:38 and 1 Corinthians 15:24 are speaking about demonic beings. This means that there are at least 5 demonic choirs mentioned in the Bible: the cherubim, or technically the cherub, the demonic principalities, the demonic powers, the demonic virtues, and the demonic angels or lying spirits. What is most interesting is that when Paul speaks of these angelic beings, the thrones and the dominions, the judges and the governors are only mentioned in reference to good heavenly beings. See Colossians 1:16, which speaks of the created beings, and Ephesians 1:21, which speaks about heavenly beings. But when Paul speaks about demonic beings, he often only speaks of principalities and powers. Those who oversee human governments and those who participate in spiritual warfare. This is interesting because the choirs of demons mentioned in the Bible are the principalities and the powers, with the possibility of angels and virtues being mentioned in Romans 8:38 and 1 Corinthians 15:24. The term angel is used here in regards to demons, but while this could refer to a single choir, this most likely refers to all the fallen angels. If we were to assume that these were the only 4 or 5 choirs of demons, it is interesting to note that the demons don't have seraphim, omphanim, thrones, dominions, or watchers, and with the exception of Satan, there is only one cherub who is demonic. This is interesting when we consider the church tradition regarding what each of these choirs do. The cherubim guard the throne of God, the omphanim carry the throne of God, the seraphim are the priests that serve before the throne of God, the thrones act as judges, the dominions govern the angels as supervisors, the principalities oversee human governments, the powers fight spiritual warfare, the virtues oversee the forces of nature, the watchers watch over and guard us humans, and the angels bring messages to humans. Contrast this with the demonic choirs then, mentioned in the Bible. Satan, the sole cherub, who assumes the throne of the demons. Satan does not need or desire the other cherubim, omphanim, or seraphim to serve before his throne. Satan does not need thrones to serve as judges in hell, for he alone is the accuser. Satan does not need dominions to govern the other demons, for he is the prince of demons. He is the one in charge of all the demons. Satan does not need watchers, for he does not desire to protect and guard humans. But there are 4 types of angels that are mentioned in regards to demons and would be of benefit to Satan. Satan could use the powers to fight in his army. Satan can use the principalities to lead astray the governments of the world. Satan can use the virtues to affect the forces of nature and cause natural disasters. Satan can use the angels to take false messages. Hence why in 1 Kings 22:22, the demons are referred to as lying spirits. So it appears in Scripture that while the angels have about 10 to 12 different angelic choirs, the demons only have 5 choirs. Satan the cherub, the demonic principalities, the demonic powers, the demonic virtues, and the lying angels. And that wraps up our discussion on the different choirs of demons and our brief look at demonology. Join me again next time when I wrap up this entire mini-series on angelology by giving a conclusion as to my own personal interpretation as to how many choirs of angels there are.